Hello everybody and welcome along to round number 5 of 100 Racing ACC. It is time and it is a Tuesday night and I hope you're all raring to go at Misano for a very interesting race. It's going to be very, very spicy. More information will be in a minute. We'll be going through that in a minute. Now, as you can tell, I'm not John. As we said last week, John is not going to be here tonight. He's on a night shift. He's working, so best of luck for him for that. He'll be back next week at a track that he loves so much, Barcelona. I'm sure he's going to be looking forward to doing that. But you got me again this week for a second week in a row. I'm Jess Games 95. Hello. And joining us back in the commentary box after taking a week off last week because he's been busy doing other things, here's Christian Romano, also known as Chromedix. Christian, how you doing?
Hi Jess, hi everyone. Great to be here back for my spare week in certain ways. Now it's good. It's all good, and it's actually pretty good even because it's a wet race at Misano, and I'm a wet lover. I love the fact that I love wet races. So probably this one will be a good chunk of surprises and possibly good racing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, most of the races, pretty much all the races so far this season have been in the dry, and for some people it's their first experience in the wet. So best of luck to them. It provides a lot of challenges as well to the drivers, but we will talk about their views in just a moment. But before we do that, let's go through the standings from last week, because last week we were out at Mount Panorama at Bathurst, and it was quite an interesting race. Actually, Iris the Bulldog, I keep calling him Irish the Bulldog, it's Iris the Bulldog. He won the race once again, 3 wins from 3 races that he competed in because he started in Zandvoort. So he's on pretty much in 4th place at the moment right now. And we've got Apex Rogue leading the way on 75 points. Floppy Fox in 2nd on 68. Samba in 3rd on 66. Iris the Bulldog in 4th on 60. Milden on 59. Michael Gallo in 6th on 52. Camo Babbo in 7th on 44. Corrado 8th on 25. He DNF last week. I think he was one of the only GT3s to DNF last week. And then we got Jason in 9th position with 17 points. And Fly Sky in 10th position. So, yeah, Iris the Bulldog, Christian, he is not a standout. The only person to win all of his races so far in this league, and he's only been with us like 2-3 races now.
He has been the surprise of the last weekend, actually not last race because there was the double header, and I think this is the right moment to say if he is effectively able to stay on top of it, mostly because it's a wet race, and as I said last week, I always give more than a round to say if someone is good or not. Here, other than be another race, it's also a wet race. Wet race demands a lot of different skills, mostly car control over racecraft, mostly because in the rain, you have obviously less traction. Obviously, you have to behave your car a bit differently. Your setup is not as in the dry as sometimes it works, but this time it's severe rain, as you can see from the track surface, which is pretty flooded. Not flooded effectively, but it's heavy rain actually at Misano racetrack, and therefore you need to have a different setup, a different skill set, a different mentality, even because in the race you have to understand that certain lines, like the outside of certain turns or even the inside, considering the banking of the turns, could bring you into aquaplaning and therefore to the wall. So actually, even the curb, the insides, the outside, it all depends on whether drivers can adapt to the new condition or they will stay on the dry lines and therefore having some massive difficulties for the race.
Yes, well, there's some corners like turn 10, for example, where you can use both the same line in the wet conditions, whereas turn 11, you can try and avoid one line in the wet conditions that you use in the dry. So we will tell you all that information later on as well. Misano is quite an interesting track, actually. It was first used quite a while ago. It was first used back in 1972. And it used to be turn 6 to 16, which was mainly used back in the day as well. And there was actually plans beforehand to create a track in Misano. And it used to host motorcycle racing. I think it still does. I think that's what it mainly does as well. It's near the Principality of San Marino as well. But I think MotoGP races there as well. And I was speaking to one person today, and that's how he knows as well. And a certain Mr. Valentino Rossi commented that he always finds Misano very, very tricky with the asphalt and the bumps and stuff like that. And the bumps are going to be even more tricky in the wet. But before we go into qualifying, we'll go through the GT4 split. Car Mentalist won the race once again in the GT4 split. There's just no stopping this guy, is there, from winning. He only lost one race, and that was the first sprint race in Zandvoort. Apart from that, he's won every single race and leading on 94 points. Philippe Bourdal and Arnaud not that far behind, 77 and 74 points respectively. Khalifa doing pretty good in 4th position on 48 points. He's the best of the rest right now. Unfortunately, he DNF'd last week, to no fault of his own though, unfortunately. Thomas in 5th position. He had a good result last week in his 4th position. Bowers is not going to be here tonight. And then we've had quite a few DNFs last week. Eddie finished in 7th on 33. Badgerman finished 8th in the standings, 26 so far. Rage ran 9th on 18. And then obviously we only have 9 GT4s. So if you are interested and want to race in the final few races of the season, make sure you go on to, basically contact us on our Discord at One Hub Racing on Discord, which you can find, I believe, on the One Hub Racing Twitch, or if you're watching this back on YouTube, on the YouTube description as well. So, to be honest, any surprises that Car Mentalist is still leading the way after 4 rounds?
I have to be honest. You lagged in my Discord, so I didn't understand the question.
Sorry about that. Any surprise that Car Mentalist is leading the way after 4 rounds with only having one loss to his name?
No. Car Mentalist, I always say this, and I will say it again. He is phenomenal in adapting rather than racecraft. He's lap 1 phenomenal. I can say these things because I race with him. In lap 1, he has this astonishing talent of being able to match normal racecraft laps even with cold tires, which is astonishing. In qualifying, he's a beast. In racecraft, a bit less, but that doesn't mean that he's not worthy of being mentioned as one of the best on PlayStation, obviously. The thing is that in GT4 you have to send the car, but we are in the wet. I did some races with Car Mentalist, but I actually race very rarely with him in the wet, so I don't want to take a side in this race. I'm just confident that he will know what to do, but obviously because I don't effectively know his pace on the rain, I can't judge. I hate to be to say wrong things, so I will just sit here and watch his race. But considering that he has the lead in end, he can slow down a bit and keep it more stable than, as it said, better safe than sorry.
To be honest, I've got to agree with you there as well, as we've got the GT4s going for their qualifying session right now. So we have pretty much all of them right now, obviously apart from Bowers, who's not here tonight. And quite a few of the GT4 drivers were asked a few questions in the pre-race interviews, and one driver who was looking very confident there, and even Chromadict, when he was looking at the pre-race interviews, was pointing that as well. One person likes the wet around it, and that is Eddie. And he's done a few setup work around this track, and he absolutely loves it, Misano, in this wet weather. I'm like, you okay, Eddie? You sure about that? And he's hoping for a good qualifying session. He's confident that he can start at the front, and maybe he could be car mentalist. We don't know, but as some of you may have noticed as well, there are quite a lot of drivers are running different style liveries than their team livery tonight, because as you all know, there has been some horrible things in the news about the Russia invading Ukraine, and we share our support for the Ukrainians that have been affected by this, and basically to any of the Russian civilians who don't want this to happen as well. I support you guys as well, as much as the Ukrainian civilians as well, but their towns have been affected by this, the Ukrainians as well. So if you see any Ukrainian liveries like Eddie, then you'll see why. So that's just a quick mention. But yeah, Eddie, I would say he is very confident, but will he turn his confidence into racecraft, as he's going to start? Well, he's just started his lap, and he's gone off the track a little bit, but maybe just finding his feet a little bit. But it is a few warm-up laps, isn't it? But yeah, it's good to see someone that's confident around the track where quite a few people don't like it, but we'll see.
Probably the last race has been a bit of a bummer for him. He had a lot of difficulties with Zandvoort, probably mostly because of wrong spot in the wrong time. He was battling with some other GT4 drivers, got involved with the GT3 2 times, and the whole weekend for him hasn't been the best. So probably he made, I'm talking about Eddie obviously, he made a lot of effort to be able to match the top times in the wet. Also, wet races are always a bit of a bonus round, because you are slower, but you need to be safer. So actually, sometimes it's a bit of a bonus round in a wet race, because some people are faster in the wet than are on the dry, and also GT4 are just good to drive in any condition. So probably GT4 will be the ones that maybe have the less delta from the GT3s in terms of difficulty of driving. Probably GT4 are gonna just send it anyway, because GT3s are heavily relying on aerodynamic setup and on a stiff floor, stiff suspension, and etc. Having a car that has to be a boat in terms of sensations, so it has to be a bit soft on dampening and springs. In GT4 this is normal. In GT3s it's very abnormal. You don't see any time a GT3 with soft suspension unless they are on Alton Park or in the wet. So probably GT3 category will be the much surprising one in my opinion. Even because now in qualifying we have Philippe Audal in first position, with Carmentel is finishing his lap, which will be in the top of the table. In fact, he's 147 up on Philippe Baudel. Then there's Arnaud, Khalifa, Badgerman, and Rageman and Eddie still hasn't got a lap into.
Yeah, so the man who said he was going to be doing well in the wet, he said, well, he's currently down in last position with no lap time, but he went wide anyway earlier on in his first lap, so not really that surprising. And he's one of our cold drivers for this week. So he's been told by the press not much went right last time out, but Eddie's going to be nervously looking over his shoulder as a result of failing to finish last week in Mount Panorama. And the hot driver in GT4 is unsurprisingly Car Mentalist. We keep talking about him. Cannot stop winning, but just keeps extending his lead. Might be half robot at this point, but until proven otherwise, I think he stays on fire. And Philip Bordeaux is hotting at Car Mentalist's heels at the moment. He's another driver that's gone wide though, so that is not good. He was one of the GT4 drivers that were called to the drivers' press conference. And he was asked, is it fair to say that if you don't start taking more points off Car Mentalist, the championship will be over? And he thinks that the gap is still playable. And he thinks one bad race for Car Mentalist and it could change everything for him and his closest competitor, Arnold. So Philip, I believe, is about to do another lap, or yeah, he's going to do another lap, I believe. So it's hard to tell which is the start-finish straight here, but he's not quite the start-finish straight yet. But there's a few more people about to cross the line. We've got Khalifa about to cross the line now to finish his lap. Will he go quicker than 6/10? He stays in 4th position behind Badgerman, but someone improves quite a bit, actually. I'm just trying to see who was just improving. I think Carmenta's gone even quicker into 1st position, but yeah, I'm still shocked Eddie has not set a time yet. In a track that he loves so much, is he getting a bit too complacent?
Probably, it could also be a bit of doing it over the limit. You have 10 minutes of time. A lap is actually 1:52 in terms of minutage. So you don't have much time. In fact, the only people able to get another lap over than this one are the number 4 of Arnaud and the number 888 of Philippe Baudel. All the others are on the final lap, and Eddie is 2.5 seconds away from the pole. So now I think his head will be pretty stressful in this moment, because he wants to be in front, but he has to recover 2.5 seconds in the single lap he has to decide his place on the grid. In fact, I'm more curious about the other two, which are able to make another lap just in time. So maybe Philippe Baudel can do another lap and take out the pole from Car Mentalist, and I hope that Eddie can get a better lap than he did just now. Flashing his light to Regimen, already feeling the fact that effectively Regimen is not in a valid lap. So probably he is currently nervous because he has to do the best possible and he has someone in front. Obviously, on the rain on GT4, having a car in front is... Oh, okay, never mind, this one hurt him a lot. Regimen actually did a bit of impeding to Eddie on the hairpin.
Yes.
It's not a hairpin, it's a... Yes, it's a hairpin, okay, but... It's a bit of a double right. It's a bit odd as a turned one, but I wonder if this impeding will ruin his lap and possibly make him on the third room. And in fact, it did. 1.9 seconds away from pole. He can't lower his time, and it's gonna be not last because the Regiment didn't set a lap, but he will be pretty furious with him probably.
Yeah, so that will be probably investigated by the stewards, unfortunately, for potential impediment. And I believe impediment, which is usually the rule in Formula 1, results in a qualifying ban for the next race. So if it was actual impediment, then it could happen. So that's a bit unfortunate. So, yes. So we'll go quickly with the rivalries for the GT4s before we move on to the GT3s, because GT3s should be all on track right now. Yes, they're all on track right now. That's good. But Arnold and Thomas were called into the stewards' room, and Arnold was asked. Both managed to take advantage of a week where finishing was a problem. Unfortunately for both, the leader was one of the few to finish, and Arnold was asked.
Arnold just less than a fifth.
We were just talking about him, Christian, and he got into 2nd place. So incredible stuff from the ERT driver, one of our partners in this league. And Arnold has been saying that he was very happy to keep up with the fast guys of the likes of Car Mentalist, Philip in this league as well. Thomas is a great driver, and I'm sure he'll figure out what he has to improve to have some good result. and he thought that his and Carmenter's pace was insane last week. So there we go. Arnaud's trip to the rivalries office this week definitely helped him a little bit as well, which was great to see. So that was that. So we'll move on to the GT3s now. GT4s is done. Carmentelis is on pole, but Arnaud was so close, Christian, into getting pole position. Just that one slight mistake that might cost him. I don't know where he lost time, but he must be gutted that he lost out by such a small margin.
The fact is that Corrado has been disqualified because he went in the wrong direction in pit lane. That's quite odd. It's an odd penalty. I've never seen it in a championship, but again, that's a first. Apart from this, Arnaud actually did what I thought he would have done. He managed to stretch his laps enough to get another lap, a lap more than anyone else. And having a lap more means that the track can get drier, because you start to have a dry line, not a dry line, but a more drier line in the track. So probably it was just enough to give him enough room, not the whole room to get into first position, but very close to Carmentelis. And now all the GT3, the first one completing his lap will be Milden, and all the other will follow. Probably the first lap will be the classic warming lap compared to the other, because, well, wet tires are way colder than dry tires.
Ooh, Floppy Fox setting a 144.4. Iris the Bulldog managed to get on pole, but Floppy Fox improved to 6/10 of a second to Iris the Bulldog. Floppy Fox is on a mission today in that car. He's also in the Ukrainian colours today, and my oh my, that is absolutely brilliant as well. And they were both called to the rivalries this week as well, in the GT3s as well. So that's good. That's good conspiracy from the media press today, that they both put them in the rivalries. And Floppy Fox seems to be in a position that if Iris the Bulldog bins it, which he rarely does, Fox could take advantage. But Fox has been asked, do you have any advice for Iris regarding the stewards and causing collisions? Because Iris the Bulldog got a penalty last week, but due to his dominance, he still got the race win. Floppy Fox said, we all have our fair share of stewards' decisions. I had one too this championship. Thankfully not with the GT4, so maybe I could advise him to chill, take forever to get around them, and give us all a chance to win, especially in these horrible wet conditions. Best of luck to that. But Floppy Fox showing that he could capitalise when Iris the Bulldog can't get pole position at the moment. But we've still got 4 minutes and 30 seconds left to go, Christian, and still all to play for. But I have to say, Fox on top. Can Iris the Bulldog find some time that he needs to get pole position? I believe Floppy Fox has just improved even more now.
Actually, there's a bit of a tactic going on. I was looking at the map, and I noticed that two cars were a bit too close compared to the others. And in fact, I was right, because Floppy Fox is just behind it is the Bulldog. So probably trying the rivalries of effectively trying to not get him into a danger zone for him in terms of championship is already starting, because he's following him quite closely, probably to get even the slightest tenths of a second, everything that can be achieved, he wants it to protect his lead. And that's actually, I will do the same, but I'm pretty surprised by another thing. Well, not surprised, because I was actually expecting it, but our current leader of the championship, which is APX Rogue, has a bit of a problem, considering that he is an Audi, and the Audi isn't the best car on wet track. Bentley has a bit of a problem in getting up to speed because of its of its turbo. The Ferrari is probably the most balanced one in the wet. The Porsche is one of the best cars on dry, but on wet is actually a bit of a difficulty because of its engine placement. And probably we will see the first underdogs getting a part of, on the grid. In fact, Milden on his BMW gets on second position just in front of the Bentley of Irish Bulldog. And Apex Rogue still has to score an effective lap because the plus 2 second on Flappy Fox isn't surely what he wants. And probably Milden goes for another lap, but it's gonna be just one lap. So probably manage the full wrongly because you want 10 minutes full in. You don't want to pit because tires get colder on wet. That's a problem. You need at least 2 laps to get on temperature, and so probably this one will be a bit of a last stop for him. So currently we have Floppy Fox, then Milden, it is the Bulldog, Samba on his Porsche, Presley on the McLaren, and Rogue that probably he will try to get another position on the spot, then Jason and Corrado being disqualified from the session.
Yes, and with Corrado being disqualified from the session, that means he has to try and get past the GT4s, which is not the best thing to do, not gonna lie. So hopefully he will have a better session during the race, because it won't be that difficult, hopefully, to get past GT4s. But he's got to make do with what he will right now. So final few minutes then for these GT3s to set their final runs. Jason has just finished. We've got the 33 crossing the line. He's 6 tenths down at the moment. Quite unusual for the man that's won 3 races in a row. But he has got quite a bit of work to do to find some time. But it is quite tricky in the way. He even said to himself in Discord that he calls himself GT3 3.5 in the wet, so he's not as confident as he is in the dry. So maybe this week could be a one-off for him. Maybe someone else could get the win potentially. Then other Iris the Bulldog, Samba, don't forget, has won a race this season. And we had at the beginning of the season Apex Rogue as well, which he was not expecting, but still currently sitting in 6th right now in the qualifying standings. And we're just about to have the checker flag. Samba comes across the line, number 97, P2 for him, pretty decent. He just crossed the line as well to start one more lap, so if he wants to he could go again, but if he spins it he will go into the pits. But the first man to cross the line to not set his final lap, it would be Jason, but he goes into the pits. So it will be the number 33 of Iris the Bulldog again. Quite a few of the GT3 drivers have gone into the pits actually, so they won't be going out again. But we'll see how the chasing driver is doing in the championship, who is looking to get a 4th win in a row. Up to the line he goes. What can he do? Can he get 6 tenths in one lap? We'll find out. Nope, he does not, I don't think, unless the timing's changed a little bit. Floppy Fox improves on his time to 1:44.3. Irish Bulldog crosses the line in 2nd position. So not enough for pole, but enough to improve on Samba's time. But Christian, Samba's still out there. He is the last man on lap. Can he get pole, or could he beat Iris the Bulldog? Oh, nope. And he's gone wide. Okay then, that explains everything.
That answers effectively our question, and the answer is probably no. Great. Thanks, Samba. But yeah, that was a bit of a surprise from Rogue. Okay, that the Audi isn't exactly the best on wet, but he's not there. He's 2 seconds off. Even that's a bit odd. I think the right word is odd. There is a black car on the grid. What? Ah, no, probably still glitched with the qualifying before.
Yes.
But we have a front row, Fluffy Fox and it is the Bulldog. Currently second and fourth in the leaderboard. Fourth in the leaderboard considering that he has kept the first 2 rounds. So he actually is on a run for himself to get on the first spot on the standings. But quite extraordinary, Fluffy Fox still hasn't won a race. And he is second. 7 points away from Rogue, which is quite obviously a bit in a difficult terrain. And it will be probably the best shot for Fluffy Fox. Considering that effectively it is the Bulldog is not... Well, it is. But there is still a bit of gap to play with. This is the best shot for Fluffy Fox to go full attack mode and take the lead of the championship. I'm quite curious about Samba, because he is in P3 with a Porsche, just milliseconds away from the Bentley. So he could actually end in second position, and that will be... Well, it will mean a lot, because it could lead him into second place on the leaderboard, and etc. etc. So a wet race, as always, it's a bit of a lottery in terms of guessing who has the pace, because everything changes.
Yeah, it does. And in Mount Panorama, for example, where the leaders pretty much stay the same towards the end of the race as well, but we did have a nice fight between Carl Mentis, Arnaud and Philippe Baudal last week with the GT4s. For the GT3s, there was one man that basically was dominating, and that was it. But Floppy Fox has a chance today to beat the man who has been on top form since he joined a few weeks ago. So, before we go to the Formation Lab sponsors, we've got quite a few sponsors to talk about. So, Next Level Racing sponsor our league. I need to actually get the words up. There we go, that will do. Sponsoring the league for the F1 season as well. We've got some great plans actually for this F1 season coming up. More will be revealed on the 11th of March, so keep your eyes peeled. Next sponsor is 3M Sim Racing. We sponsor the league by providing a pair of their sim racing gloves. We got Vespertine, who support our championship prizes and also support our merch as well. Looks very nice. And we've got ERT, Elite Racing Team. Dexter's in the chat. Hello, Dexter. I know you're watching. You just come in just now. Good timing. They're going to be sponsoring our trophies this season for both ACC and for F1. I almost forgotten the other league. Silly me. And also going to be sponsoring the ERT Going Get Tough Award as well. And all they need to do to win that is complete their pre and post race interviews and finish outside the top 3 in their split. So thank you, ERT, for all your support. And also, because of their support, every ERT driver gets a free entry to the leagues that they compete in. So if they compete in ACC, they get a free entry. If they compete in F1, they get a free entry as well, because the owners pay for their entry fee, pretty much. So thank you very much. And finally, 2 more sponsors. We've got Mental Health Foundation. It's good to talk, especially during these tough times, in particular with coronavirus and the invasions that are happening in Ukraine at the moment. Just if you feel any problems at the moment, just speak to the Mental Health Foundation. And we are partnered by the SimGrid this season, who is helping us with the running of the league. Does our sign-up form. We put the standings on there. You can actually see on the standings in the SimGrid website by going onto the simgrid.com, and you can follow us there as well, where you can keep up to date on all the standings and all the races that are going on. So, Chromedix, we're about to start with the race. Any predictions on who you think is going to be winning this one?
Floppy Fox. 6 times on qualifying isn't a random thing that happens for bare luck. he actually put a lot of effort, and he is actually on the right car. Misano is a great track for Ferrari, because it's good straight line speed and also an effective slow speed cornering. So the Ferrari it was already alright for it, and then wet track and Flappy Fox himself into the car. So great job for him, and probably car mentalist for the same reasons. Well, Porsches. Currently there are 3 Porsches on the first rows, so there's a bit of a common thing. But also he won 4 out of 5 races, so he actually is on a good form of pace. So wet race is still full of surprises, so we will see.
Yes, our first wet race of the season. We are about to get started for the 5th round of the season. We're halfway into season 3. Who will win the championship at the end of it? We'll find out, but we go green, green, green here at Misano. Let's see who gets a good run out of the GT3s. Floppy Fox covers off Iris the Bulldog quite nice. We got Samba as well tucked in on the inside of Iris the Bulldog as well. So Samba getting away very well. Nice to see some Ukrainian liveries as well out there as well. So the GT3s going away quite cleanly. Oh, someone's gone a bit wide. I'll keep an eye on that, who it is in a second. But keep an eye on our GT4s. It's Car Mentalist who's leading the way still there at the moment, I believe, as he is trying to dodge all sorts of cars. I think there's going to be a GT3 trying to overtake. That is Corrado going to get that started towards the back of the field. Arnold as well, who's well on the back of this as well. And yeah, I'm trying to see which GT3 was it that went off?
Of Khalifa. I think no one.
I thought I did someone go off.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't GT. It was a GT4.
It was a GT4. Okay, it was a GT4 that goes up.
And Khalifa and Eddie are side by side since 2008, so it's actually pretty astonishing for them. And Khalifa actually managed to stay on top ahead of him. Quite a good battle going on in the 12th position.
Yes.
Oh, and he lost the position on Badgerman.
Oh, he did as well. Eddie's just got him. Eddie's just got him as well as we've got, I think, quite a few cars just trying to defend.
Oh, didn't touch the Samsung in the last turn.
Oh, this is very, very tight.
Oh, it is the Bulldog is off track.
Oh, no, the man who's been doing very well, who's won 3 races this season already, is now dropping in into last of the GT3s. Even Corrado has got past him according to our timing sheet. That is a shame for Iris the Bulldog. He's got a lot of work to do to climb his way up the field then as well. But we'll keep an eye out on certain corners to see where they could potentially overtake now. So we're seeing some more overtakes being done as well with the GT4s, as Jason has been passed by Iris the Bulldog now. So that was the overtake done from the Bentley from Iris. So he is going on the comeback charge. So in terms of GT4s, we've got Porsche versus Porsche. So I think for the GT4s, the Porsche looks like it's the fastest car out there. Khalifa was with that fight as well, but the likes of Badgeman and Eddie overtook him, so that allowed Khalifa to drop down just a little bit. Rageman, he's not doing very well out there. Again, going a little bit wide there. And Apex Road could try and go for a move past Fly Sky, but I think he's going to stay behind for now. But there's a few people going for risky moves, but these guys, they've got to not take too many risks out there because it's absolutely soggy. And like you said earlier, there's certain curves you can take in the wet. No, you can take in the dry, sorry, but you can't take in the wet for sure. So if they run wide there, they'll go into a spin like we saw Iris the Bulldog do in the final corner.
Actually, Iris the Bulldog was challenging Rogue because Rogue and him were side by side towards the last turn, and Rogue was trying to get on the outside of Milden, and then actually Iris the Bulldog tried to get into the inside of Rogue because apparently he went a bit off track in the initial phases, and the Audi just was on track. Iris Boulder went just a tiny bit wider. He hit the rear bumper of the Audi and got involved in a spin. But he's currently already taking back what he lost, because he is 3 seconds away from the Audi in 5th position, and Fly Sky is actually in 4th position. So one of the best performance for him so far in the wet.
And all it takes for Fly Sky is to go into the wet conditions to do well, because he was looking to do very, very well last week when we went to Bathurst as well, because an issue that I had with the likes of Fly Sky is inconsistency. But he wanted to prove us wrong, and he's only got 9 points. He scored his best result last week with a 7th position. But he wants to score higher than that, and if he gets a 4th place, that will definitely be his best result. So he is going to do all his best to keep the fast guys who are in the championship behind him as well, because there are still quite a few GT3s missing tonight. Mikel Gallo being one of them. He is a no-show tonight, so he will be getting a penalty for that one. But I think Fly Sky will not be last because of it as well, but we'll look at, I think, Fly Sky's bumper a minute, see how close he is. But it's gonna be hard with the spray as well. You've got to be a little bit further back than usual to get past, because otherwise there's no way you're gonna see each other if you're that too close. But the more experienced drivers will be quite close anyways on these cars to try and get past as well. So he is holding his own out there at the moment. And just one thing to mention as well, Christian as well, they still got to do their mandatory tyre and fuel pit stop in the wet. Being in the wet does not excuse them for a mandatory pit stop. The only time that mandatory pit stops do not count is the sprint races. That's next week. But this week, they do have to still do their tyre and fuel stop when we get to the pit window. Not yet though, but we will get a window pop up on our screens and on the driver's screens on when that happens.
The pit window could be a saver for some drivers. Mentioning the NASCAR, last year was they were doing a competition caution, which is a safety car basically, to get back your pressures if they were a bit off, considering there weren't free practice. But that's another story. The point is, considering there is a mandatory pit stop, some drivers can use the mandatory pit stop to put together their pressures. In the wet, it's pretty common that you miss the right pressure zone on your tires. So having a pit stop could mean that you can get on the pit, put the right pressure, and probably get back some time. And well, for some drivers, which could be a good saver for drivers like Corrado and Jason, who are currently they are currently struggling a lot. Jason was struggling even in qualifying, but Corrado, he probably is struggling possibly for a problem in the pressure, considering that he hasn't done qualifying. So if he put wrong pressures, it's Corrado on the move, Jason, and in turn 1, Jason trying to defend the outside, but on the curve it doesn't work. So Corrado makes the place quite easily on him.
Yeah, I have to say, it's a battle for not being last place at the moment, isn't it? With Jason and Corrado. Jason again is holding his own, isn't he? In 7th position, but he's gone wide again. So he shows he's on a different level. He's a bit slower compared to the other GT3 drivers, but he's still here to score some decent points, because if you finish, you score points, and he is one of the drivers who's looking forward to the F1 League starting very, very soon. 11th of March is when the trailer launches. Please make the note in your dry diaries. We have teased it quite a few times on Twitter.
Oh, Jason is off.
Jason is off. As I was talking about him, commentator's curse, you see, Christian. Commentator's curse.
You called it. Jason just in the middle of the GT4 pack, so for him it's gonna be a long run. Oh wait, Fly Sky is in 3rd position, because Samba lost several seconds, and he is now in 4th position. I was watching the 26 going off, and I didn't notice that actually Samba is in 4th place, and Fly Sky is for the first time in the podium position.
Yeah, that is something that Fly Sky was not expecting, actually. So I don't know what happened to Samba. Shame we can't see the replays, actually, of what happened with Samba. But it might just been an on-track battle. It might just been Fly Sky just took advantage there. Or it might be that Samba's struggling, because look who's on the back of this. Apex Rogue is challenging Samba as well by 4 attempts. And we're seeing Jason being in a sandwich with the GT4s, but look, Christian, look how close GT4s are for the lead. It's Carmentalist versus Arnold for the race lead. 2 of our championship contenders right now. Carmentalist, don't forget, is still leading, but Arnold has been the only other GT4 driver to win the race this season, apart from Carmentalist. So we're seeing the battle of 2 GT4 race winners here. Carmentalist won most of the races, of course, but Arnold, he's won 1 and he wants to win another, doesn't he? But he's looking quite good, and he's pretty much almost matching Carmentalist's pace. But it's one way of actually trying to close in on your nearest rival. But overtaking is definitely on a different story.
Yeah, the 3 drivers in GT4 are all on a quite tight pace. Carmentalist just has the little thing more that makes him able to get the first spot on the standings every time, unless apart from the first round in Zandvoort. Arnold surely doesn't want to just give up. He's trying everything to get on front of him, and he probably can, because on the wet you don't have the slipstream as in dry, but you have the advantage calling. You can brake a lot later because the car in front makes a dry line for you, so you have a bit of traction more. I just want to cut a space for Samba, because I went to see what happened to him, and he actually lost the car on turn 1 and just saved the car. So that's the reason why he lost 2 positions on both Milden and Fly Sky. Getting back to the GT4, Carmentalist and Arnold had the same pace in qualifying, nearly, because it was less than half temp. And as I said, Carmentalist has a better pace on qualifying than on race, like a gap compared to himself. Not completely astonishing, but it's like the gap you have from a certain person. He is better in qualifying than in race. So Arnaud currently can use this to his advantage, and in fact he probably will, because he's just half a second away from the first place in GT4, and we can expect a battle, especially in the pit lane, because compared to where you are, you can try an undercut, an overcut, or something else, and getting in front of. Oh wait, the 12. Rogue is being overtaken by Iris the Bulldog, and Iris the Bulldog gets the car in front of him just before the last turn. Nice move from him to from the outside to the inside of the Greek driver.
Oh, so I wonder if Iris the Bulldog is buckling under pressure a little bit. Same with Apex Rogue as well. Both of them way down the order than you would expecting at the moment, because Apex Rogue is leading the championship. Iris the Bulldog in P4, but they're only P5 and P6 respectively. Fly Sky, though, I have to say, he is in a similar battle to what we're seeing with Arnold and Carmentalist, but we've got a 3-way fight for P2. So Floppy Fox is just running away with it right now. He is on a roll. 15.8 seconds is the lead for the GT3s. Then we got Milden in second, Fly Sky in third, Samba in fourth. If Iris the Bulldog did not make a mistake, he would have been there as well. But he is closing. If he closes in, same with Apex Rogue, this train is going to be absolutely huge. But I'm very impressed to see Fly Sky keeping up with this. But it is hard to overtake in the wet. But still, he's not letting the pressure get to him right now as well. And Samba just can't find a way to get past the 2 drivers in front as well, which will probably allow Iris the Bulldog to close in as well. So we'll keep an eye on this train of cars as well as the battle for the lead in the GT4. Meanwhile, the battle lead of the GT4 has increased now to 1.1 seconds.
Oh, Rogue is off track.
Bulldog is off the track. The number 33.
No, Rogue.
Rogue, sorry. Oh, I thought you said Bulldog for a minute there. Silly me, as Rogue has gone off the track. So yeah, he's lost a bit of time compared to everybody else. But yeah, so now that the GT4 battle is quieting down, it gives us a chance to just watch this GT3 battle for a little bit as they head towards turn 1 and 2 quite nicely. He still keeps the car close enough to Fly Sky Samba at the moment, but Fly Sky has dropped a bit to Milden, so I think Milden will probably be relieved that Fly Sky has dropped off a little bit, but I don't think Samba will be happy because Samba wants to catch him up as well.
Samba has to really launch the car. He has a McLaren in front, which is astonishing on, well, everything, as the McLaren is. And the Porsche doesn't have a very strong pace on both wet and straight line speed. So currently for him, what he was hoping for was a good qualifying, which he had, a good start, which he had, and then everything was just staying there. And unfortunately he missed this part, and he's currently sitting behind the BMW and the McLaren, and he can't really put the car there. As a wet track, okay, Misano does. Oh, Milden is off track.
Someone's off track. Is that Milden? Or was that someone?
Yeah, Milden is off track.
It looked like Milden because that's what it was on the gap. So, oh my word, Milden has made a mistake. So that puts Fly Sky into P2. I would have never saw this coming. If he keeps this up, I have to say, Dexter will probably agree with me. He will be one of the contenders for Driver of the Month in March. Obviously, we have chosen one. Well, we are going to be in the middle of choosing one for February, but if Fly Sky can keep this up, he could, because it doesn't have to just be about consistent performances. If there's a really great one-off performance that we're like, oh my god, this is brilliant, then we could put him up for nomination. And definitely Fly Guy is just showing that he could do this, and I think he's about to lap, I think, a GT4 car already, which is, if I can look at the map, the number 22, that is Rage Man. He's about to lap, so there we go. Well, let's keep an eye on the GT4 battle. 2 seconds now is the gap between Arnaud and Carmentis, so Arnaud is struggling a bit more compared to Carmentis right now, but he's probably saving maybe a bit of tyre life before he gets into the pits, so he doesn't struggle a little bit when he goes in as well. Samba though wants P2 so bad. I think he's the closest he's ever been all race so far, as both of them head towards the next couple of corners, and they got Eddie as well in front of GT4 to try and lap, so that's going to be quite interesting as well, because that's a tight set of corners coming up as well. So let's watch Samba as he's right on the gearbox of Fly Sky. Here they come then, final corner. Turn 1 could be the optimum line, but we see people find turn 2 quite difficult. Well, turn 1 quite difficult to overtake, and turn 8 as well. And I can see why turn 1 is difficult to overtake, because of the tight corners that they're getting as well. So Fly Sky, can he get... Oh! He cut the corner a little bit there, Fly Sky. Trying to get past the GT4. He does get past the GT4, no trouble. So does Samba as well. But with all of this trouble that Fly Sky had, it's allowing Samba to draw ever so closer on Fly Sky as well. Don't forget, Samba's won a race this season. He is used to race winning, but surely at the moment the race winning is out of the cards, so all he's got to focus on is in P2. But he almost capitalised on Fly Sky, but he did not there.
I think the main problem is not in front, not just behind him, because currently the number 33 is getting closer and closer, and even more closer, because here is the Bulldog is actually gaining a lot of time, and FlySky and Samba are currently battling their position up. So maybe I just saw that Samba was trying to overtake in an impossible spot. So maybe, just maybe, this battle of the two of them could bring a freeway battle for 2 positions on the podium on the wet track of Misano, which is all this combination is just great to watch.
Oh, Samba's
Samba's off.
gone wide! And he's hit the ball out of the brake marker boards. That's not going to help people that rely on them. Because I know I've spoken to a lot of drivers recently, and I know they rely on them in Misano. So quite a few people are going to hate Samba. There's going to be a few people that are
No,
like...
luckily that one is not a fundamental one.
It's not a fundamental one. Oh, that's good. No. That's good. Panic over. But if it was a fundamental one, they would be complaining. They'll be like, who is it who's taken my breaker marker board? But
jokes on you, they are fundamental for us.
Yeah, but sometimes I usually like the ones before, in particular ACC, because I know what to expect, what to anticipate. I know whether to when to slow down as well. Sam's gone wide a little bit there as well. The pit window is open though. Pit window is open, so if people are struggling for tyre grip, maybe, or if they're stuck in traffic, maybe this could be the chance for them to pit, and then they don't need to pit again.
Probably just the... Okay, the problem comes because it's a long track and you have GT4s in the middle. And Corrado can't pit because otherwise Floppy Fox gets on him. Milden will get behind Corrado, so probably not even him. Probably it is the Bulldog is the one that can go to the pits and still be in a great position for himself, because he wouldn't be lapped for sure. He will be, if not in front, at least close to Corrado's back. So probably it is the Bulldog, and he also has to gain a lot of time, not because it's a lot of time, but because the faster the better. So, oh wait, Samba is actually the first one to go into the pit lane, which, well, the position is quite the same, so Samba actually followed his... oh, Corrado is off track. Corrado is off track.
You think about Valtteri Bottas.
Just before the straight.
You think about Valtteri Bottas mowing the lawn, Christian. But yeah, he's gone off now, and he was in last in the GT3s anyway, so he is struggling a bit, but I'm not surprised Samba's pitted where he did, because he has gone wide a few times, and maybe he wanted to get his pit stop out of the way so he can get some potential clear air as well. But yeah, you made an interesting point as well, that you could get interfered by traffic if you pit early as well. So you got to time your pit stops right and time your gaps just right as well. And I'm sure Milden would want to be ahead of Apex Rogue in the pit stops. So you got to think when your rival would possibly pit, maybe do the opposite, or maybe, well, basically if he pits this lap, pit the next lap, or maybe follow him in, because Milden is obviously, you can follow him in, whereas Apex Rogue doesn't know what Milden's going to do, so Apex Rogue just got to read Milden's mind in a way as well. But I don't think I'll see them two pitting yet, even though we've got 17 minutes and 30 seconds left to go of the pit window, and if they don't pit by that time, they will get a penalty by the stewards. And for most of you, if you are new to ATC, there is quite a few people new to ATC or have forgotten, the number 1 next to their name means that they got to make the mandatory pit stop of fuel and tyres. If it's shown as green, they've done the requirements and they don't need to pit again. If they do pit again, that will be for damage. So that is Samba doing his first pit stop. Would that help him? We'll have to wait and see. But Milden has dropped. He's lost a bit of time to Apex Road there in the final corner. He was about 7, 8, 10th. Now he's a second. Now he's 1.3. So I think Apex Rogue has found a bit more pace in his car.
It's also depending on the section. Last sector is extremely you have to follow a single line and that's it. You have to be very, very precise in it, and it's very technical. Sector 2 is a bit way is way faster in its turns. So, well, obviously ignoring the fact that turn 11 exists, because that's not a turn. But it's also maybe it's the stop. The BMW is it's a bit of a brick in terms of stability, while the Audi is way more nervous. So probably the last sector is better for the BMW compared to the Audi. Corrado is currently in the pit, being lapped just now by Floppy Fox. Is currently a bit in the field because he also spun another time. And it should be interesting to see what the other will do, because Fly Sky is currently in battle with Samba. So if I would be him, I would pit straight away to protect myself from the undercut. And if it is the Bulldog, is actually the one who is about to pit, currently in the pit lane. Rogue 2 and Milden still on track. So Rogan is the Bulldog currently in pit lane. And that will be the best way to see if Samba made a good pit stop or not.
Yeah, I think so. We will see as he's heading towards. I need to remember what turn it is because it's flipped the other way than I was expecting, because it's flipped. Yeah, it is flipped the other way, isn't it? I think it's turn. I might be wrong. No, yeah, heading towards turn 11 and 12, Samba goes at the moment. There are 16 turns in Misano.
Al carro.
There we go.
Vabbè, Samba is at Al carro. So last 14, turn 14.
Turn 14, Caro. Yeah. I always get confused on which corners are called what. But there we go. Samba then, he comes across the line now. Irish the Bulldog and Apex Road come out. It's going to be tight. But I think Samba's ahead. Oh no! Samba's off!
Samba's spoon!
Oh no, he would have been ahead. He could still be ahead though. He could still be ahead. Ah, Samba, that was so close for comfort there. Very close for comfort, but I think I'm just trying to see. I think I'm just trying to. The Bulldog's gone off. So if Samba didn't spin, he would have been ahead of Iris the Bulldog, but he's now just behind Iris the Bulldog. But yeah, that was a bit of a shame for him. But these conditions, these curves, they're just so slippery. He might have been pushing to the limit, Christian. And now, he's gone off again!
Rogue is about to overtake him, probably at just at Al Tramonto. And Floppy Fox is just behind them, currently about to lap them, which is even, it's the worst possible news they could have got, because now they need to let him pass, but they are also battling for the first position, and they will never let him pass, that's for sure. So probably Floppy Fox has to pit to avoid being, blocked by two contenders for the podium, which is, fair to say, they have any right to stay in front of him, because, oh no, Rocky, let him pass, or did he went too wide, I don't know, probably the second. Because he actually missed the braking zone a bit, and now Floppy Fox is in between of them, and well, I would. 40-second penalty!
Philip!
Stop and go for Philippe Baudal for speeding in the pit lane.
Speeding in the pit lane for our man who is second in the championship, I believe, in the GT4s. I haven't talked much about the GT4s because they have been quite quiet at the moment, but Carmentalist, who was our race leader, has pitted. Same with Philip Baudal, but he has to go and serve his 32nd stock car. I think he sped out of the pits actually coming out, because coming in he was fine, but coming out, so easy to do sometimes, so you have to come in again. So he would be behind quite a lot of the GT4 runners. Arnold is in. I did see the number 22 come in. That is Rageman, who is coming out of the pits now. So he has done his pit stop. I think quite a lot of the GT4s will be doing their pit stops. Khalifa comes in now as well. Haven't talked much about him. He was running in 4th place before the pit, so we'll see if he keeps up a net P4 as well in terms of pit stops. So that just leaves out the GT4s, Badgerman, and I think that's it. Badgerman and Eddie and... No, Jason's GT3. But Eddie and Badgerman out of the GT4s to pit as Eddie comes in now. Badgerman will stay out an extra lap. He probably wants to have his glory of leading a GT4 field for at least a lap, which is sometimes what I like to do in F1. I like to stay out for a bit longer sometimes, and if I have a little bit of a gap ahead and behind just to lead the field for a bit, that'll be fun. So, as Philip Bourdal, Christian comes in and serves his stop go penalty. That is a shame. He was doing good trying to catch up to the likes of Arnold and Carmentalis, but that's going to make Carmentalis' charge to the championship also easier, and he's going to probably eliminate another contender potentially.
I still think that a stop and go penalty for speeding is a bit too much.
I agree.
That's just my opinion. I don't make the rules, unfortunately. But yeah, Carmentalis is about to bank into his account the championship in GT4. Not mathematically, I think.
Not yet. But it would reduce Philip's chances, because the gap between Philip and Arnold is only by 3 points. So because Arnold's already pitted, and the gap between P2 and P5 in the results is quite massive, so Arnold's going to gain quite a lot, as luckily he didn't speed again, so that will be his final pit stop. But imagine where he would have been if he didn't take that stop go. Badgerman is the last of the GT4s to come into the pits. So he comes in, Milden's in as well for the GT3s, and that just leaves Jason, Floppy Fox and Fly Sky. Floppy Fox is in a bit of trouble at the moment with the GT4s, but as long as he can keep the gap behind in the GT3s, it doesn't matter when he pits, because he's got that comfortable gap. But as long as he doesn't get holed up, that's going to be the crucial thing. But yeah, Floppy Fox, it doesn't matter, but he's got 8 minutes and 46 seconds to do so, and he's got to get past some GT4 cars in the process.
Probably Floppy Fox just doesn't bother really about anyone else, because he had he has a 30-second lead on the P2, effective P2, because Fly Sky was still P2 since the pit stop phase started, so he actually has a 30-second lead over anyone else at least, which is a big chunk of time. Milden, quite surprisingly, is a lot of seconds behind Rogue, and the Rogue was just less than a second in front of the Audi, behind the Audi. So he probably lost some time. I suspect in the pit lane zone, because it's the pit lane entry. It's very stupid, in my opinion. It has a little bump on the inside, and considering the track is wet, probably some drivers went a bit safer than others. A lot of seconds are also gained in pit lane. I usually brake just on the line, and for bare luck I don't get a stop and go penalty. So I actually am used to gain up to 4 seconds just because of pit stop. So it's crucial to get on the line. It's also wet, so probably some seconds are being done just by this. Probably Samba was the one that was able to gain the match of it, because his gap to at the time before was probably was going to be around 5 to 7 seconds, and then he lost it by spinning himself in turn 1. And now the Bulldog is currently in P3, with Fly Sky possibly will stay in P2 as he pits just now.
Yep, he does, as well as Iris the Bulldog goes wide, trying to lap the GT4s. So that might help Fly Sky a little bit in the pits. That is a disadvantage sometimes when the GT4s win a battle. You got to try and get past them as well. So that will be quite tricky as well. So the GT4 that he was trying to get past was the number But is it? This is number 8, but there's no number 8. Oh no, it's Floppy Fox. He's closing in on Floppy Fox, but Floppy Fox is obviously quite a bit ahead at the moment, or it might be obviously due to Floppy Fox needing to pit as well. He's almost a lap ahead of everybody else. That's how quick he is at the moment, and everyone needs to step it up a bit. So Fly Sky. We'll see where Fly Sky comes out. I'm not going to talk much about Fly Sky because every time I talk about Fly Sky, like I did last week, he binned it. So I'm not going to say anything as he comes out of the pits. He's got to be wary of his cold tyres though. Whereas Iris the Bulldog. Ooh, it's hard to tell. Fly Sky's just coming out. I think Fly Sky will just be ahead. Only just though, I think. But here comes Iris.
No, he has like 10 seconds, maybe 15 seconds away from it is the Bulldog, who still has to approach turn 1, and the Fly Sky is already on turn 5. So currently Fly Sky is actually in a good run for the podium.
Yeah, he is. To be honest, Fly Sky has been impressing me as someone that has gone wide there in the background as well. Something that you do not want to happen. Might have been a GT4 probably. I think it was. No, it wasn't Eddie because Eddie's a bit further behind.
No, it was Rageman.
It was Rageman who's 4.5 seconds back. Now we're looking at Fly Sky's lap time actually in comparison. His best lap time was a 1:44.5 in the Gt3s. That's pretty much almost matching quali pace, and I don't think he set that in quali. Let me check a second what his qualifying pace was. So his qualifying pace was a 1:45.6. So Fly Sky is already faster than his qualifying. So either he was struggling in qualifying or he just found his feet a little bit in the race and just been doing brilliant in his race pace. Usually he's like me, a lot better in the race. So he's already faster than his qualifying. So what was the qualifying pole? Qualifying pole for GT3 was a 1:44.3. So he's 1/10 off the qualifying pole time. And then we'll look at Floppy Fox's time at the moment. His best time was a 1:43.4. So already we're faster than obviously qualifying because they were on low fuel modes earlier before the pits. And Floppy Fox, he's got to be careful. He's got 3 minutes and 20 seconds to go. And then he's got to pit. He needs to pit soon. I think he's the only driver to go into the pits. He needs to go into the pits out of everybody, I believe. Everybody else has made their pit stop. And there's some...
I think he made a mistake somewhere because the 22 is way closer than the lap before. And I'm pretty sure the lap before he was lapping him. So probably Floppy Fox made a mistake somewhere. I'm not sure where. Probably not enough to make him in trouble to P2, considering that the 99 is at Altramonto. But it's probably not enough because now Floppy Fox is about to get on the Tramonto himself. So probably just a mistake, but he is safe from any attack, I hope. Do not have jinx it. If so, sorry.
You like to jinx things, don't you, Christian? I sometimes like to jinx things. Only joking, by the way. So sometimes it's easy to forget, though, where you're just running around on the track and you're at the front and you're like, yeah, I can get to the end of the race, no problem. Then you realise you've got a pit. So maybe, hopefully there's a Jeff. He's going to... Yes, he's pitted. Oh, good. He's in the pits. It was pretty much his last chance, so he's in now. So he's the last man to pit, so we will see. I'll still put him in the lead anyway because he was so further ahead than Fly Sky. So your order then is Floppy Fox leading the way, Fly Sky in second, Iris the Bulldog in third, Samba in fourth position, 2.9 seconds behind Iris. Then 1.2 seconds back is Apex Rogue in fifth. 4.7 seconds back is Milden in sixth position. Those are your GT3s. Corrado is struggling a little bit out there in 14th, trying to get past some GT4s. He's a lonely GT3 near the back. Our first GT4 car mentioned is leading Arnold by 10.6 seconds, so Arnold struggling a little bit in the wet conditions. As we've got Badgerman. He's doing quite well, actually, in the wet. 3rd position. Now, he was involved. He had a glitch last week where the game did not take him for fuel and tyres and stuff like that. And I think he got a drive through, I think, at some point as well. But if he could keep this up as well, he's on for a podium. We're seeing Fly Sky in P2, Badgerman in P3. The leftovers, they're going to score some decent points in the championship. They're last in the team's championship, by the way. They're going to score quite a lot here.
Has got the
Corrado's got disqualified, just like he did in quali. Oh, no. I think he made the same mistake and went into a spin, probably. But, yeah, the leftover team doing quite well. I don't want to jinx things, but Fly Sky in 2nd in the GT3. Badgerman, P3 in the GT4s. They're both doing really, really well in the wet conditions. Maybe they want it to rain every race, but I think I remember Badgerman saying to me that he likes Misano, I think. I can't remember. I might be wrong, but someone correct me on that. But both the leftover cars are doing quite well around this chat.
Well, considering that Badgerman best result was actually just a
P7, wasn't
P6,
it? Or P6?
Yeah, it was a P6 at Laguna Seca. For the other, he had an 8th place, double 7, and as you mentioned, a DNF. He is currently on pace for his best result so far. He has to thank Philippe Baudal, because he got a stop and go, and probably even Eddie, because I'm seeing he's a bit not on his on the pace he wanted, at least from the notes. And the 26 is off completely. Ah, okay.
26, that's Jason.
Yeah.
Jason's got disqualified as well. Oh no, so we're down 2 GT3 drivers already. That's not good. But good if you want to get points, don't you? For the other GT3s.
We are close to GT4s getting in places of GT3. So
again.
It's a bit of a... well, actually, I went to see what happened to Jason, because I was just there. He apparently cut the carro, and the game disqualifies you if you cut the carro, which is turn 16, the hairpin after the straights. So probably the game detected him cutting the whole track, which is fair in a computer sense, but obviously not the right choice in for a person with common sense, I will say. But it's a computer, we can do things out of him. But yeah, currently Badgerman and Fly Sky are the underdogs. Flipping the results, the result that we expected to see, like it is now. The Bulldog is in 3rd, and Samba is just behind him, in 3 seconds behind. A bit. He's basically staying 3 seconds behind. So probably the Bulldog just found the right pressures, as I was saying before, of getting into pit stop and adjusting your pressure. Probably the Bulldog is one of the few that had the problem, and now he sorted it out, because Samba on the first turn was gaining a lot of him, and now the gap is actually increasing. In fact, now it's just increased of 3 times. And Rogan in 5th, and then Milden completes the GT3 standing.
Only 6 GT3s, Christian, running in this entire race, because obviously we had a few.
Oh, Sambi's off! Sambi's off track! Sambi's off track just before the carro.
No!
And lost 7th position. No, just Rogan, sorry. He's in 5th position now.
I was going to say, it wasn't Samba, because Samba's carrying on like no tomorrow. So, yeah, Rogue's lost quite a bit of time there. Will that allow Milden to gain more time, maybe? He's going to gain a bit of time on maybe Samba as well. It might be... yes, he actually is going to gain quite a bit of time on Samba. as well. So this could be an interesting fight between Rogue, Samba and Milden again. Bring it on. It was for third early, wasn't it? Now it's for P4 because Iris the Bulldog is now in third. So yes, we did have a GT4 battle on our hands. Now we're going to turn our... I think the GT4 battles have been quite quiet. They've had their quiet little races, haven't they? All they've been involved in is being lapped by the GT3s. All the action we've seen for the past 15-20 minutes or so has been the GT3s. So, but hopefully towards the end we could see some action potentially for the GT3s, but I don't think that's going to happen. We've got 50 minutes to go and no one will want to make a mistake in these conditions, but Floppy Fox leading the way, Christian, by I saw the gap, but it went away from me. But it was around about 30 seconds to Fly Sky. That is insane. But Fly Sky is leading Iris the Bulldog
yes,
by 14.0 seconds. So the top two are in a league of their own right now at the moment. But no matter what happens, we are going to be seeing a different race winner this season to add to Samba, Iris and Apex Road being the only 3 race winners in GT3 this season. I think.
Let me check, because I don't have. I think there have been. Okay, Rogue won the first round. Floppy Fox still hasn't won one, so he will be a newcomer to the victory lane. And then, yeah, Samba and it is the Bulldog. So, yeah, he will be the 4th.
He will be the 4th then. And there has been pretty much... So, we've had, obviously, the 2 sprint races. So, this is our 6th race we've had so far. But don't forget, we've got the sprint race again next week as well in Barcelona, which should be a lot of fun. So, if you want to see twice the action... Twice the qualifying, well, it's not 60 minutes, it's a bit shorter than that, but 2 short races, no pit stops. Join us at 7 p.m. next week. John will be back then because he won't be doing his night shift next week. He'll be doing day shift, so he'll be back to do join Gromedix in the box next week. Yay! But let's enjoy this action at the moment. It's becoming a bit of a procession at the moment, but
I'm there.
Samba, 7-10, he's closing in on Rogue again. So Samba has probably realised he's got to step it up to forget about his mistakes from earlier as well. Same with Milden as well, who I think is just closing in actually, but there's also a GT4 right in front of them as well, which might change matters at the moment. So 30 minutes left to go. Still all to play for. The GT3 order can change. Someone's gone wide. That is the one. No, it's not. No, it's not the 111 because I'm on board with him.
Yeah, Rogue lost the positions. He's now in 6th position.
It is Apex Rogue. So number 12. Yeah, it was the number 12 that lost position.
Yep.
So yes, it's hard to read the map, but I realised that the one in red is the one I'm following. Getting used to it. I thought it's the one in white, but that is. I think that's the GT4s as well. Quite hard to tell at times, but Apex Rogue, he's now got to fight Milden and Samba now. Samba must be loving life here in 4th position, but he's a little bit too further back to Iris the Bulldog right now, the number 33. So you're seeing in the track map as well how far he is as well, as Iris the Bulldog's about to lap number 34, which is Khalifa, who is sitting in 4th place. Khalifa likes his 4th place, doesn't he? But he's doing quite well in the championship in, believe it or not, 4th. The only time he did not get 4th was a DNF last week for no fault of his own. He got kicked from the server, sadly. So, but he would have probably finished 4th anyway if he didn't get kicked. So every race, technically, he finished 4th.
I was trying to search for something that I can't find anymore. Okay, no, found it. Actually, Badgerman, who is currently in P3, in the interviews, he actually said that he didn't even practice for the race.
Did he not?
So, nope.
Well, maybe that is something Badgerman should do next week then.
He actually said that he hasn't practiced until, well, I think the reviews are from yesterday or Monday at last. So,
Yeah, I think he wrote his interview yesterday. He might have practiced today. We don't know. And he's also played Misano on... Don't forget, he's... Because quite a few people do this as well. Not many people. Samba's one of them that also does this. Badgerman's also been practicing Misano on PC as well. So, because obviously ACC...
No, but I don't think it's... PC sensation from PS4, and I am the source because
yeah, you do. You're on PC as well, yeah.
I had the horrible I can't speak. The horrendous thing of passing from PlayStation to PC, and I can say that since I need a vowel. The sensations are completely different from PC to PlayStation, so. Even if he started practicing, I don't think that's actually going to help him out. I was actually also seeing the interview from Samba, and he actually said that he would have been on a better place in the standings if he avoided to spin every race. And I think he jinxed it himself because I think I counted 3 times until now, which would have put him at least in P3. So please, Samba, don't for the next time, because he's a great driver. He actually in Laguna Seca he was just over the top of anyone, except for that spin in the Corsa. So it seems like he's struggling a lot with traction. And in the wet was quite frankly, with this trend was a bit expected from him. It's not a good thing to say, but I mean raise the traction control, which is I know that's the last thing you will think about, because if it's traction control you think that you go slower in Assetto Corsa compared to Formula 1 games. Because he actually is a player even in Formula 1. Traction control doesn't mean that you go slower. You actually gain seconds, well, not seconds on lap, seconds on the long term, if you adjust the traction control. For example, in certain section of the track, here in Misano it's a bit difficult to find a spot. Brands Hatch. Let's take Brands Hatch. You can do the whole track in traction control 2, for example, but if you put traction control 3 on turn 4, you gain 1/10. So actually, it depends on your driving style, which is also unfortunate because he has the pace to get into P3 or P2 or even better. It's just that he can't deliver the full package. I know that pace doesn't mean points, and the opposite way around, because he actually deserves more, because his pace is actually very good. It's this tiny part of him that break his legs in a certain way. So it's a bit unfortunate.
7 minutes left to go of this session. It's gone. Time has flown by at the moment. We've done 29 laps in Misano so far. Well, the GT3s have done at least 29 laps already at the moment. So Milden has he's got a potential battle on his hands as well. He's trying to be lapped by he's trying to lap the GT4 of Badgerman, and someone's gone off. That is Samba, who's had another spin. How many spins is that now? That's more than 3, isn't it, Christian? That's, I swear that's about 5 or 6 spins he's had today. Oh my goodness. That was quite close, but he is struggling there at the moment, Mr. Samba. But He's now dropped down to 6th, which means that Apex Rogue's back up to 5th. Oh my god, Samba's now last of the GT3 runners that are still in this race. What a shame.
As I said before, he has the pace, but can't deliver the package, which is a sad thing to watch, because when you know that someone can do, but you can see it, it's an horrendous thing to because you want him you want to see him up on front. So yeah, he deserves. I will just say that he deserves more than he is achieving, because he is good. He's very good as a driver. And now currently the battle is between Milden and Rogue, with Rogue just half a second behind the BMW, and probably it will get just on the final turn of the final lap of the final minute. I was about to say lap, but effectively there are minutes here, so but you understand what my point is. We will see the battle going on until the end.
Yes, I think so. So let's watch this battle, because I think it's going to get very spicy indeed. But I think for Samba around Misano, you were talking about him. If it wasn't raining, I think the spins would have been less, because of the fact the slippy nature. Turn 8 can be quite slippery. The curbs as well there. I'm just trying to remember what I was saying earlier in qualifying. Which corners you could not take the curbs in the wet. Turn 15.
Each one of them.
Turn 15, turn 13, turn 12. I'm doing it backwards, but I don't care. Turn 11, turn 10.
You know you're counting each one of the corners.
You can't. Well, I think that's referring to GT3s, but turn 10 you can take the curbs in both conditions. Turn 6 avoid in the dry and the wet. Turn 5 avoid in the wet. And turn 3 as well. Turn 2 exit, avoid the curb. That's where we've seen quite a few people lose it. And I think turn 1 you can take the curb no matter what. As a few people were just showing right now with Apex Rogue earlier. So there we go. So there are certain places where you can take the curb, some places where you cannot. But 3 minutes to go, so I think we've got, if my maths, I think 2 or 3 laps to go of this race. And we'll obviously get the leaders on the final lap very soon. And some good performances for a lot of drivers. Quite a few drivers, like we said earlier, will get their best results if they keep it up. A few drivers will need to step up their game. Iris the Border will have to get used to not winning this week, which is not in his DNA at the moment, but he knows that obviously he joined quite late. You can't win every race, but still, he's going to be in a good position in this championship still, because he'll still be on the podium. But Floppy Fox will be gaining some points on him in this race, so Floppy Fox will be liking that at the moment. Floppy Fox is still quite a big gap on the rest of the field right now, so that just shows how quick he is in pretty much one lap pace and in race pace at the moment as well. But I think with more people starting to make mistakes, with the likes of Samba as well, I think there's not going to be many battles unless Rogue could find some miraculous pace in the final few laps, which can be possible, it can not, but we will see at the moment. But, you know, final few laps, let's make sure the drivers are going to make it count. But before we go on to those final few laps, there are a few spaces in our Gt3 and Gt4 leagues for ACC. So if you're seeing this action and thinking, hang on, you like to race, message us on the One Hub Racing Discord saying, hi, I would like to race. They'll direct you to the SimGrid website where you can register, and then you should be able to race. The only catch is, you got to make sure you do the remaining races of the season. We've got Barcelona next week, the 2 sprint races. Then we got Alton Park the week after, and then we got Paul Ricard for the final endurance race, 2 hours. That's going to be exciting. Looking forward to that. But yeah, 1 minute and 30 left to go. I doubt Rose's going to catch Milton in time to get 4th place.
No, the gap is now 1.7. It starts to to get bigger and bigger as the laps pass by. Probably it's around 4 laps that the gap is raising a lot. And currently, the last places on GT3 are the cars that struggle the most on the wet. The Audi and the Porsche. The Porsche because of, well, as I said in pre-race, the engine is in the most rare possible place ever imaginable, because that's basically on the bumper of the Porsche, and the Audi is just uncontrollable in the dry. In the wet, is just, everything is worsened. So currently, the last 2 cars are the one that I expected to struggle the most, and there is Milden in P3, it is the Bulldog in Milden in P4, it is the Bulldog in P3, the underdog in the McLaren in P2, Floppy Fox in P1, I think about 44 seconds of gap. But then there are also the GT4 car mentalist in P1, once again, not a surprise from the man in the Porsche. Arnaud getting the place secured by the stop and go penalty gained by Philippe Baudal, now in 5th place. Badgerman the other underdog in P3, Khalifa, then Eddie Redman. And Floppy Fox is about to finish the race. Yep, he finished the race in P1.
There we go then. So Floppy Fox wins the GT3 race for tonight for his class. A big congratulations to him. And he would be closing in on the likes of Apex Rogue and Iris the Bulldog in the championship. But the number 99, who has been inconsistent all season, hasn't scored many points. He was at the bottom of the GT3 standings. Well, excuse me. He is not. I don't think he's going to be at the bottom of the GT3 standings anymore. Fly Sky definitely gets his best result of the season with a P2. A big job for him as well. Iris the Bulldog will come across the line and get his 4th podium in a row. Not quite the first place that he wants, but a podium is a podium. Car Mentalist crosses the line. He wins for GT4 once again. Well, there was no stopping him today, wasn't it? There was just no stopping him. He's doing donuts. You gotta be careful. There's people that might be still racing. Excuse me. Apex Rogue Samba comes across the line. Arnold takes his, I think he's got another podium because he got a podium last time as well. Yeah, he did get a podium last time. So he gets at the podium, his 3rd podium, well, 4th podium in a row. And that will just leave 2 more drivers come across the line. One of them will get his 1st podium of the session. He can celebrate early if he wants to, because Khalifa and Bordeaux have already crossed the line. So, Badgerman, his best result of the season by far, gets P3. And don't crash like that. There we go. So we'll get your race results. So, if it will let me. There we go. GT3. Floppy Fox wins. Fly Sky 2nd. Irish the Bulldog 3rd. Milden 4th. Apex Rogue 5th. Samba 6th. And your timers are Jason and Corrado. GT4s. Car Mentalist wins. Arnold in 2nd. 16.6 seconds behind. And then Badgerman in 3rd, 55.5. Then we got Khalifa, who was 1 lap down, in 4th. Philip Bordeaux, 12 seconds behind Khalifa, in 5th. Eddie in 6th position, and Rage Mountain in 7th. But the difference is all of our GT4s have finished. So that was your results, and I'll get the overall ones as well, just in case. But we're going to be choosing now. Oh, it's going to be a very hard decision, this one. This is going to be the hardest decision I've ever made for the driver of the day. So we've got to pick our driver of the day, 1 each and 1 question each. So I'll let you go first. Who's your driver of the day and what would you like to ask him?
Well, for me it's quite easy as a decision, because Fly Sky just made an astonishing work, getting P2, 1st podium of the season, jumped quite a bit of places also, I think, probably. And my question is very simple. How? That's it. That's my question. Because he made a P2 on the rain with zero practice. No, that's Valjean, sorry. He made a P2 on the rain with practice, but as a complete underdog with, being honest, I wouldn't ever expected this from him. So I would just ask how.
How did you get P2? Basically,
Yes.
is the question, just in case the person who is doing who's transcribing the question is like, what? So yeah, the question is how did he get P2? How did you get P2, Fly Sky? That is the question. Oh, the thing is, I was going to pick Fly Sky as well. Oh God.
Sorry.
That is fine. I'm torn between two. Floppy Fox with his domination, dominating through the field, but Carmentis winning again, Arnold in second, Badgerman with his first podium. I don't know. I literally don't know. This is, out of all the streams I've done for ACC, this is the hardest decision I ever have to make who for this race, because there's so many mentions for Driver of the Day. Well, I feel bad for leaving the GT4s out, but I'm going to have to give it to Floppy Fox, because Floppy Fox got his first win of the season, was very dominant. And my question is, why did it take so long to get your first win of the season, and how does it feel when you cross the line to win that race? So that's my question, but so many people could have won that Drive of the Day nomination for me. Badgerman as well could have won it. Same with Car Mentalist and Arnold. Pretty much majority of the GT4 field, to be honest, but I can only pick one, and Floppy Fox did well today. So yeah, Floppy Fox gets my Driver of the Day nomination. So there we go. So we are gonna be interviewing our Gt3 and Gt4 winners. One of them we're so used to already. Sorry, Dexter, I did not pick who you wanted to pick. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, it was so tough. He was a close second, though. So, we'll do GT4s first, because Carmentis was always the one we interview last. So, we'll interview him first this week, because we are nice. So, we'll interview him first. So, we'll drag him in. So, there we go. A man who is probably used to the top spot already. Carmentis, welcome back once again. It's like we're from the familiar face in the commentary booth. How was the rain out there tonight?
Hi again, Jess. Hi, Gromadates. Yeah. I think I should probably start paying rent for a spot in this commentary booth at this point, not to toot my own horn, but yeah, God, it's been what, 5
You
times
own the house key of this of the commentary box?
Yes, please.
Just
Can you unlock it for me, please? Thank you very much. But yeah, the rain was actually really, really good fun. Obviously, never driven the GT4 cars in the wet before, so that was a new experience. But yeah, the car was good to drive. Misano's a good track anyway, so I think if any track was going to be a wet race, then I will take Misano. Misano's a bit easier to get to grips with, but yeah, it was a really, really good race. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it looked like you had a bit of fun at times, but you were having a battle with Arnold towards the start of the race as well. That was quite fun to watch. Tell us what was going through your mind there.
Yeah, I noticed, obviously, Arnold's been the one that's been pushing me all season long, really, and his qualifying was really, really strong, of course, only less than a tenth behind me. And yeah, the early part of the race was more about me just trying to keep track position more than anything else. I wasn't pushing too hard. I didn't want to make any mistakes and just let Arnold through. I wanted the high ground in track position, and then I was always going to plan to pit early, because I noticed the track, while it obviously wasn't drying out, it was there was a little less standing water, so the times kept coming down and down, and my tyre pressures kept going up and up. So I wanted to get into the pit lane as quickly as possible so I could adjust my tyre pressures and be a bit stronger towards the second half of the race. So I just wanted to make sure I had the track position at the start of it to do that. And yeah, so it was a good battle with Arnold, and my strategy in the end paid off, because I was definitely a lot stronger in the second half of the race.
Yeah, because you're on your own for the second part of the race, to be honest. No one was challenging that there as well. Were you a bit worried that you were going to go wide a little bit at times, or were you just focus on the rhythm?
I'm trying to focus on the rhythm. I think the problem with a wet race at Misano is you're constantly trying to keep off the paint more than anything else, because there's so much paint around Misano that the second you go onto it, it's like an icing rink. I did have one moment down the back straight, I think with about 15 minutes to go in the race. I just had a bit of a wobble under braking, but managed to keep out of the gravel trap and stuff. It was just a bit of a moment, but beyond that, it wasn't too bad. Actually, the GT4 cars, because they're basically stock cars, I was expecting like my traction control and stuff to be really, really high, but actually I was running the same traction control and ABS that I do in the dry, and it just seemed to work for some reason. The car just seems to come alive a little bit in the wet. So yeah, that was good in that sense. So it wasn't challenging as such to drive the car in the wet. It was just trying to mainly keep off the curbs and keep off the paint for the majority of the race.
Chromodix, any questions?
I finished the question to be. You're always here. But yeah, probably there hasn't been so many wet races. I think from your experience, so I think that a wet race once in a while is always a good way to rebalance yourself. That's my opinion, at least.
Yeah, it definitely is. I think a wet race it's always good to have one in there, isn't it? Just to try and see what people can do in the wet, and then also it's just a new challenge in a season as well. I think Floppy Fox is a beautiful example of that. He's had a strong season, but he's maybe not had the season maybe he was expecting, and then coming into this race he's just blown everybody out the water because it was a wet race, which is kind of what you expect on that side of things. And yeah, I've not had many wet races. I think every single race I've ever done at Misano has been wet at this point. I don't think I've had a dry or a non-weather like changing race at Misano. So yeah, seems to be the place to do it. But yeah, was really, really good fun. And honestly, bring more wet races on. I really enjoy them. I think they're great fun to drive. It's a new challenge. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
If they want to be devilish, could we have a wet Alton Park?
No.
Although I don't think
that's in
anybody
2
would turn up.
weeks. That's in 2 weeks. So
I don't think anybody would turn up if we did a wet Alton Park.
Dexter,
What do you want? The cows?
Dexter, if you're watching, Commentalist wants another race, please.
Yes, please.
Also,
yes,
Parks
please.
makes already too many casualties. Just leave it be.
Gosh,
There we go. And
brilliant.
Dexter's just sent the chat. Be careful what you wish for.
I'm gonna keep manifesting these things. I'm still manifesting a Porsche Super Cup season next season. I'm manifesting everything.
Ooh, nice. Well, we'll go in there. Actually, no. Before we let you go, next week the sprint race are back next week in Barcelona. What do you think of Barcelona?
I don't mind it. I think Barcelona, when driving the GT3 cars, Barcelona is always a bit of a bugbear for like tire temperatures and that kind of thing. It's really, really harsh on the left-hand side tires around Barcelona, so you do have to do a lot of tire management there, especially if it's hot. I don't know what it's going to be like in the GT4 cars. I don't imagine tire temperatures are going to be that much of an issue for the cars. I am a bit fearful though of the BMWs at Barcelona. That long pit straight is going to really hinder the Porsches. I mean, we saw Bathurst. I was so slow in a straight line compared to the BMWs, so that's going to be interesting. So I think qualifying is going to be pretty important for me at Barcelona, so fingers crossed I can get another pole.
There we go. So we'll go and let you celebrate. Congratulations again on another victory, car mentalist. And we'll see you hopefully next week in John will see you next week in Barcelona. I'll be in the chat. So, but it was nice to see you win once again. Well done.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And thanks as well to you guys for commentating as per. You guys do a stellar job every time. So
cheers. Thank you very much.
I like this thing, so no need to thank us.
Brilliant stuff. Take care, guys.
Thank you very much. And we'll now interview our GT3 winner in the chat. And first of all, he is dominated by 30 seconds, pretty much 35 seconds. A man who I picked as one of my Driver of the Day nominations. Only just, it was so close, it could have been someone else. Floppy Fox, can you hear us?
The answer is no.
We may have to put him in the waiting for it. Oh, he might be on his phone.
If he's on his phone.
If
wait.
he's on his phone, probably we need to go into the waiting for interview. So Floppy Fox, if you're listening, go into the waiting for. Oh, Floppy Fox,
Okay.
can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
There we go. We thought you were on your phone for a minute there, but congratulations. Our fourth different race winner this season in the Gt3s. You looked pretty comfortable out there.
Yeah, it was a long time coming. A couple of mistakes in previous rounds, and I've done put a lot of mileage into, but with the new version of it coming out as well, and I've been on a lot this week, and getting a really good feel for all cars, to be honest, and it's just come together really nicely, to be honest.
Yeah, it did as well, because pretty much everyone was battling around you as well. Was what you were hoping for the majority of the race, to increase that gap a little bit?
Well, yeah, in the race, I mean, like Carl Mentley said, it just got quicker and quicker, did the times. I was struggling. I was determined to stick to my pit strategy, which I put 2/3 fuel in, and then a third for the last bit. But yeah, the tyre pressures were just going up and up and up. But yeah, the times were going down and down. I mean, what we're qualifying was at a low 44.
Yeah, it was a low 44. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, it was so close to a 42, and the tyres were just, especially my first set, were just going off towards the end. I was thankful for the pit stop, but at the end with the new tyres, I'm nearly hitting 42, so it was getting quicker and quicker.
Yeah, it's because you were probably on the cusp of a better lap as well when you went into the pits as well, due to the low fuel as well. I think you seem to be more comfortable in the race than in qualifying as well. Probably because there was less pressure, because there was no one behind you battling for the lead.
Yeah, I noticed. I think lap 4, I was quite a few seconds ahead already at that point, and it eases you into the race. You look up, you realise you've got a gap, and you can settle down and get the laps in, get a rhythm going. Like I say, there was no major mistakes. There was I've had a couple of apologies from GT4 saying they made it awkward for me. I felt like I made it awkward for them sometimes, but no, even then it was only tiny minor things, and no, it went really well. Did the race? It was really good.
Yeah, it definitely did, and probably one of your best performances of the season. I'm just looking at your previous results, because we can with the SimGrid, because the SimGrid is nice like that. So you have a P2 in the first 2 rounds, P3 in Bathurst, P3 in the second race at Zandvoort, and then normally there was a P8 in the first race at Zandvoort as well. And we've got sprint races coming up next week, but in Barcelona, how can you make sure that you don't get an 8th place in the first race?
Yeah, that was a miscommunication with the GT4. I thought you were going to squeeze me off. I ended up flying over a curb and then hitting a wall in Zandvoort. But no, Barcelona's a really good track for me, a bit like Misano. I really gel with it. I have put some personal targets on to do really good these 2 rounds, so that's one race down. I think I need a good round at Barcelona to hopefully cement where I want to be in the championship. And did APX finish 5th? I'm not sure if I'm.
I can't remember. I'll need to clip it. I'll need to clip it because I did clip it.
No, it was. I think it was in. P5 because Samba was in P6.
Yeah, right. He said yeah. Apex Ray was P5. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that'll do well for the championship, because it was ahead of me on points. So yeah, I'm very happy with that. Like I said, Barcelona's a really good track for me. I really gel with it. I'm confident. We'll see
there you go. So I'm expecting 2 dubs from you next week, then, yeah.
I'm confident. Yeah. I'm
yes. Right. That correct answer. When people say, "Oh, you get," if I ask them, "Oh, you're gonna get 2 dubs," they're like, "No." But you're more better than that. I like you already. I want you to win. Christian, any questions?
How is it to be on the victory lane finally?
I think my donuts at the end proved everything. I think I spent about a minute doing donuts at the end, and then realised, oh no, I've got to do an interview now. Shut out my chair.
Careful with your language.
Yeah, I almost forgot about the interview. I was too busy celebrating at the end. But
We could have let you off because obviously we interviewed Carl Mendes this way. You could have done donuts for a bit longer.
Yeah, no, it's a long time coming. Like I say, there's been a couple of incidents, both on my part and misunderstandings with GT4s, and no, I would like I say put a lot of mileage in this week, and very determined to see what I could do, and yeah, it's paid off, and looking to do the same for next week. So bring it on.
Yeah, the gap between yourself and Apex Row before this race, I'm just trying to do the maths here, 75 minus 68, it was 7 points, and that's going to be quite massive. That's going to be quite close, actually, between you two as well, and you were discussing it could be quite a good battle next week, so best of luck to you both next week, and we'll let you do, well, you can't really do donuts anymore because the server's ended, but you could go and have a bit of a celebration at home now as well. So congratulations to Floppy Fox, our 4th different race winner this season in the GT3s.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for commentary as well. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So that is it then for this stream. It's gone so fast. It's 9 o'clock. And if Floppy Fox wanted to, he could have sworn at 9 o'clock, joking. We're trying to keep things professional. So, interesting race actually in the wet. And like we said earlier, Christian likes the wet conditions. But after this race, a few people will probably be relieved next week to get back into the dry.
Yeah, probably a lot of people in this race don't understand why my statement exists. But I don't care. I will say forever that wet races are better than dry races. And yeah, next week is gonna be a double race. So we are gonna get back on a double format, which helps driver with more speed than consistency. So yeah, it should be actually pretty interesting, even because it's Barcelona, and Barcelona always has this problem of overheating the tires.
Yes.
A lot. If you're not able to resolve it, you're gonna lose a lot of time in the long-term period. Although there are just 30 minutes, so maybe, just maybe, they can still try to get the most out of the tires, even with the high temperatures.
Yes, indeed. 2 30-minute races, no pit stops as well. Just light to flag in Barcelona as well. Much easier to overtake in the GT3s than the F1 cars. Just saying, that's my personal opinion. I know some people may disagree, but anyway. So I will be passing the commentary reins next week to John again. He will be back, so he's probably missed tonight, but he's probably glad he's not missing next week because it's one of his favourite tracks on the calendar. And he'll probably keep saying that next week, so I won't be saying that much anymore. So John and Christian, also his Codemasters, will be in the commentary box next week, same time at 7 PM. Thank you to the guys at One Hub for letting me join for this week. Thanks again to Christian, as always, for joining us in the commentary box. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thanks to you.
And we will see you next time for some more One Hub Racing action. And don't forget, if you want to sign up for this season, there's 2 spaces left. 1 in the GT3 class, 1 in the GT4. Go on to SimGrid. Very, very soon. There should be some spots open. And yeah, you can message One Hub Racing for more information on that. And who knows, John and Codemasters could be commentating on you next week. But for myself and Christian, have a good evening. See you next week. And goodbye.
Good night.